Hi guys, thank you so much for all the support on my last video. Thank you for leaving all the wonderful comments. I also got a lot of messages that I inspired people to book flights and go on trips, and that makes my heart so happy. So along those notes, I'm making today's video on how to look for flights and get the best flights possible. So let's get started. So the first tip I have for you guys when searching for flights is to always search on incognito mode on Google or Safari. Another thing you might notice start to happen is when you're looking at flights and you keep reloading the website, finding new flights, the prices go up. So what I usually do is I search a few days at a time for flights on incognito mode until I find the best possible flight and I just book it. I look for all of my flights through Google Flights. You basically just put in your destination, where you're flying from, where you're flying to, your dates, and then you click search, and then it gives you a ton of airlines and a ton of different times for your flight that you want. But I don't directly buy through that because sometimes it'll take you through like specific websites that sell these airlines, and I don't know if I trust those. So what I usually do is I find the direct flight that I want, the exact flight, and I look at the flight number. Once I find the flight number of my flight that I want, I copy that flight number and I go to the airline that that flight number is with. So let's say Delta, and I find Delta, flight number, whatever. I go to Delta's website and I press that flight number into Delta and I find the exact flight for the exact price that Google Flights gave me. Usually Google Flights will give you the best prices. Another thing that I have noticed that I like doing is, and do this only if you know that you're gonna make your flight and are on top of your flights, but some things I've done is, let's say I have a long flight and I need to get somewhere, but one airline doesn't do it all, or one airline takes a longer amount of time or more money. Usually when you type into Google Flights, some websites actually find you the exact location from and where to, the dates, everything, really cheap price, but you notice that they're two different airlines. So basically I just buy those directly, like I said, through the airlines. Even though they're two separate airlines, I buy both of those flights. Just make sure you have enough of a connecting period of time to make that second flight. Because if you don't make that second flight, no one's gonna reimburse you for that, and that is 100% your fault. It can be super duper frustrating, so don't do that. I've done that once. I have learned from that mistake, but I have found that doing that and maybe finding a flight that is two separate airlines actually was cheaper for me, so I ended up doing that. What happens when you do that, you have to go to baggage claim after your first flight if you have a baggage. Then you pick up your baggage, you go back to the check-in, you check it back in, you go through security sometimes, and then you go in. So make sure you have at least 2 or more hours if you're doing that. Moving on to when to buy the cheapest flights. So I've noticed when I was buying flights is that the cheapest flights tend to be when you departure in midweek. So if you're buying a flight and your departure date is sometime in the middle of the week, those tend to be the cheapest flights. So let's say I want to leave on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So basically I'll make sure my departure date is on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Usually those are the cheapest flights, but do your research. These are all the tips that have helped me traveling. My next video I'll be recording will be on traveling in the Philippines. Stay tuned.